Starting on Wednesday, federal agencies like the TSA will begin to enforce real IDs. Now, Virginians are not required to get one, but without a real ID or another federally accepted form of identification, you won't be able to access federal buildings, military installations, or nuclear facilities. Now, it also means you could have to take additional steps before boarding domestic flights. Now, Brianna Fallon joins us in the studio with more. Brianna.
Yeah, Connor. So if you're planning to fly within the United States soon, it's still important to get a real ID. But if you aren't able to get one before your next flight, or you're choosing not to get one, there are still ways for you to get through TSA checkpoints. You might just need to go through alternative screening. After years of pushing back the initiative, the enforcement of real IDs goes into effect in just over 24 hours. And when it comes to getting through TSA, you'll want to have your real ID handy.
It's going to affect every airport across the United States.
But if you do not have a real ID and plan on flying domestically, there are other valid forms of identification TSA will accept, like a passport or military ID. If you don't have another accepted form of ID and only have a state-issued driver's license, there may be extra steps you need to take before hopping on an airplane.
You may be subjected to additional screening from the TSA.
According to TSA's website, if you try to use a license that is not Real ID compliant, TSA officers might ask you to complete an identity verification process.
Come with that ID, even if it's not Real ID compliant, and they will find a way to accommodate you and get you on your flight with a minimal delay.
If your identity is confirmed, you will be allowed to move through the TSA screening checkpoint as normal. But if your identity cannot be confirmed for any reason, you will not be allowed to move through the checkpoint.
The worst thing you can do is say, you know what, I don't have anything and I'm going to show up with no ID and hope for the best.
And if you're in a situation where your alternate form of ID is not being accepted at the airport and you believe it is valid and meets the new federal guidelines, Jones says the best thing to do is to ask for a TSA supervisor. Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.